do 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 chicka 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 do do. All right, welcome to me beautiful gaming table. This is not my work table. This is where I actually play on this table. This video is called the Last Parsec Irongate Big Dump. The reason I'm calling it the Big Dump is because I'm going to upload this table to the workshop with 28 maps that I have created, begged, borrowed, stealed, stolen, stealthed, and you can use them to play the Last Parsec Irongate plot point campaign. There's about 10 adventures, very cool story. If you are unaware of what Irongate is, or what the Last Parsec is, the Last Parsec is the sci-fantasy, science fiction, savage world setting, space, different races. You got Yetis and hippo men and plant people and stuff like that. But the Irongate section of it is this prison planet. Let's shoot over to the old right monitor here. You can pick this up for $10. Irongate, no guards, no rules. That actually makes this adventure very cool because there is literally no law. Irongate is an intergalactic prison planet populated by a melting pot of the worst criminals the universe has to offer. Irongate is both post-apocalyptic wasteland and cyberpunk dystopia. So yeah, $10 gets you the adventure. Now the gist of the adventure is you play undercover Jump Corps security officers sent to the prison planet Irongate, from which there is no escape, but somehow people have been escaping. Not everybody, but 3 people that are super wealthy have managed to make it off the planet, and they have been picked up in other parts of the solar system. One of them, was arrested for speeding or something while they were drunk, and they're like, "You know who I am? I'm so-and-so." It turns out they were sentenced to Irongate, where they should never have gotten off of the planet, but somehow they did. So your job as a Jump Corps security officer is to go to Irongate and figure out how people are getting off the planet. It's a no-fly zone. The ice house has ships on it that they could send down to blast anybody out of the atmosphere that tries to, blast them out of orbit, so to speak. And yeah, that's sort of the gist of it. It is a super fun adventure. It's, again, a little bit post-apocalyptic wasteland. There's, broken towers. There was a city here at one time, the city of Irongate. There's a backstory that you will get into if you so choose to, but the atmosphere is toxic, so they have scrubbers. The scrubbers got messed up, and everybody evacuated. The planet was forgotten 500 years ago where it laid in waste, and now they've fired it back up, and there's a valuable alloy metal, something called rhelium, that they use in spaceships and different stuff. And the people of Irongate, the prisoners of Irongate, mine this rhelium in exchange for goods and services like food and stuff like that. The cool part about all of this, too, is that the entire planet is populated with gangs. Gangs of all types. You've got gangs that make drugs out of, like, old batteries and stuff like that. There's gangs that control the roads and transportation. Gangs that control the mining operations and stuff like that. So it's just full of, like, these crazy gangs, crazy characters and stuff like that, which is pretty sweet. I'm not going to get into the plot point campaign too much, other than to say that if you download or purchase the Irongate PDF, this should help you get through basically all of them. The only other thing that I need to mention is that there are no miniatures on the in this map, because the miniatures that I used were David Oakham Arts, and he's got some really cool ones under Armageddon Outta Here, Extra Stellar, and might have been one other one that I used, maybe Retro Space. I'm not 100% sure, but you can find some great sets of minis. I was kind of looking at stuff there, got a little sidetracked, that you can use in game. For example, if I go to my miniatures and I go to Oakham Arts and we crack out Armageddon Outta Here, there are just some great, cool looking minis. This guy's got some stuff. This guy's got some stuff. Let's scooch in and check them out. I got these guys stuffed in the game here. But yeah, look at this guy with his chainsaw, and he's got like wearing parking streets and stuff, street signs for armor, and which is pretty sweet. It really gives off that post-apocalyptic Mad Max kind of feel. This guy's got a shotgun and some chains. This guy over here, what is he sporting? He's got a great big sort of crap together knife with a hockey mask and Molotov cocktail. But I use these as one of the gang members that show up on the in some of the various adventures. But to cut to the chase, let's get into it. I'm just going to quickly show you sort of what is happening with this map. We start off with this one, which is hyperspace. We're going to hit build, and you would pull up this map, for example, while you're explaining to the characters exactly what I just told you about Irongate. You know, you're on this vessel, you're Jump Corps undercover security officers heading to this prison planet. You're trying to find out some stuff. This is a good time for you characters to introduce one another, etc., etc. And when you're all done, you're like, all right, we arrive at the ice house. Skaboosh. Here's the ship. There's the ice house. Now, the only way you can get down to the prison planet is through this little ship here. This is the drop ship. Characters, or players, I should say, are in this little transport container. The ship flies down to the planet. It drops this off. Everybody gets out. There's the planet. There's your maps, etc., etc. Pretty sweet, pretty cool. And there is a little bit of a mini adventure. Sometimes this map gives me grief. Let's see if it works this time. If it does not, this is going to be the interior of the ice house. And yeah, you can see you'll have to populate this with little miniatures for the security guards and stuff like that. But this is a decent little map for showing you where prisoners might sleep. And, you know, here's the little entrance to the transport bay. But they get into, this is where the first, I guess, plot point campaign sort of takes place on these ones. And from here, they talk to the commander in his little headquarters, and, you know, just sort of stuff and things happen. And I don't really want to get too much into the adventure because I don't want to really sort of give too much away. From there, there's the Outlands crash site map. And I don't really want to build all of these maps. This one is actually pretty sweet. The crash site. A little bit of rain going on here. The post-apocalyptic cars and shit like that I've left on here are pretty knifty. But this is where I would put those minis, for example. Back to the Okamarts. You know, this is the first gang that you guys or your players would come across. Would be the Armageddon out of here guys, right? They show up looking for the players. Of course, they need to be sized appropriately. I usually bust everything out at size 3 on mine, but these guys would be like more of a 1-1-1 kind of a deal. And yeah, these guys are here, and they are looking to crack down on some fools. Oh, this map is needs to have a thing done, but that's okay. This map still works. You have to go to what is it? Anyways, I'll think of it later. There's a thing that a setting that you have to click. Oh, I know what it is. My bad. It's over here, and you want to go to sync. You press this sync button, and then everything should work. Boom. Attempting to sync netcode. Yada, yada, yada. Dudes reset. And then when you bring your miniatures over, they should sit properly on the map. Right? Except he's very big. The red man's big. Okay. So yeah, you got cool maps like the crash site. What else have we got? From the crash site, you would go to meet this guy Darkwani. So there's a little bit of a city suburb map. Darkwani, because you show up as Prison Planet guys, you have no gear whatsoever. You get some comms in your head that you can tell your players they have that, you know, undetectable so they can communicate with one another. But Darkwani sends you off on a couple of easy adventures to go to the junkyard, and he's like, you know, if I can build you some rebreathers, if you get me some parts, I can get you this, I can get you that. And Darkwani's this old engineer guy that builds things. So there's those maps. There's some really freaking sweet junkyard maps to play on. For example, let's build Junkyard 3. This is a personal favorite of mine. This is where Vey threw the Molotov cocktail into the clubhouse and blew up all the babies and the children. Just kidding, she didn't really do that. But you drop in some little robots that are, you know, cleaning up the junk piles and shit like that. There's a great big turret over here. You got a little command center or whatnot, but there's hover bikes for your players if they wanted to come in here and steal a hover bike and shiz. So yeah, decent map. A little overhead subway tram thing that's there. But this is, you send them on a quest here to go do a thing. Go get a jet bike or come here and get a part that's in the clubhouse or something like that. It's just an adventure they go on to sort of build their character up. And from there, we go back to Darquani's. From Darquani's, you end up in the Junk Bazaar where you meet an NPC that takes you to a place called the Pyramid. I will quickly build the Junk Bazaar. It just takes a couple of seconds. Screw you, Eric Lamberou. And we got ourselves the cool and Star Wars-ish feeling Junk Bazaar. You put in an NPC that the players meet, and that sort of fires them up into a little bit of research for, how for people that are getting off the planet and whatnot, right? They get into the adventure a little bit more. The first couple of steps is all the setup and whatnot. From the Junk Bazaar, we go to the Pyramid. This is where you meet the car gangs that you sort of end up in. They control all the roads and stuff. Now, here's a bit of a gimmick. Oh, Pastebin will screw up sometimes because it's Pastebin, but if you just wait till it finishes doing its thing, because Pastebin is a goofy-ass frickin' website, you can hit clear and build, and usually on the second go-around, it will build and collect everything from Pastebin, no problem. Pastebin is just an annoying thing. The Pyramid is this gigantic pyramid that's a couple of levels tall, and it holds the car gang in it. These guys control the roads and transport and stuff like that. You can see I got a bunch of sweet-ass post-apocalyptic Mad Max-looking cars in here. But because there is no way in Tabletop Simulator, I am going to find a gigantic pyramid that has cargo bays and interiors, etc. What I did was I put this little pyramid that I found here. It's got some weird looking shapes and signs on it as an old alien artifact. And my players, this led to a couple of adventures. The Christmas special that we did, a little portal door opened and they went off in that direction. So, but this would be their base of operations when they get into the gang for the cars. They meet a couple of other people. And yeah, that's just another one of the maps that's available there. What is this one here? Here is a map called the Drop Zone, where they end up... This is where the shuttles come down and drop everything off. So there's a couple of adventures that take place here. You can see in the back tar map. We got a cool little Jump Core salvage drop ship container and whatnot. But you can have gang battles and stuff in here on these maps and whatnot, which is what we did. They ended up helping this guy. Some of the gangs came in and they're like, getting pissed off. So they're trying to take over the drop zone as one of their controlled areas. And yeah, you help one side defeat the other kind of a thing. That was one of the adventures on here. So that stuff is available. What else have we got on here? Where does this one go? The Relics Mining Room. But yeah, you can skim through them. I don't want this video to be me showing you everything that's on here. There's 28 maps. If you're ever interested in playing Irongate, this thing can be uploaded or is going to be uploaded to the workshop, and you can skim through them. This is a map that Yodax made. It's got a little bit of a, well, it had a fantasy adventure thing on it, but you got to go into the mines and you meet a guy in one of the adventures. And yeah, it just sort of leads to the next part of the adventure. You get some information from him. I put little Relium ores in here and stuff like that. There's a little lift over here that takes the stuff out. And yeah, well, actually, when you're inside, if you look around, this is a cool thing that Yodax did. You can see everything's black and dark, and then you pop out into the real world kind of a deal. So that's going to wrap up the stuff that I'm going to show you. Pretty much any map that you'll come across that is part of the Plot Point campaign, you can find in here. In total, like I said, if we go to See All, we got Xandar's Drop. This is another great map where you find out sort of some stuff right near the end. The White Room, the Trials, Road Pirates, Roadblock, Relics Point Alley is a side adventure where you can have your players go try and find a part for something like that. The mining room that you just saw, the crash site, Pyramid, Outlands crash site, the nightclub. Now the nightclub, again, there's gangs and stuff that are in there. It's actually pretty sweet. There's a moon base, mining dome, junk bazaar, the 3 junkyards. The initial one, the Inward Eye, is a group that's on there that you go meet. There's the ice house maps, hyperspace, the Green Needle, which is pretty cool. The factory complex is awesome. You can go here and get cybernetics and stuff. And the Green Needle is where one of the people that you're looking for lives and stuff. So yeah, it's got quite a few of the maps. There's Darkwani. Cyberdongs is the you can see Cyberdongs. It's one of the bars I put in, one of the nudie bars that is in here, and that's all of them. There's 28 maps available. This table has a bunch of Savage World stuff on it already. Here's the bennies that you can dole out. There's action decks and the adventure decks if you use them. This little mini HUD thing over here is what puts these red bars over top. So I would just use them for wounds. You can only access them from one size, right? Just so that you know how many wounds your character has. And then I use this to sort of specify that this character is shaken. This little thing over here will knock him over. Savage Worlds uses up, down, off the table kind of a thing. And on this map, if you are any one of these colors, you cannot take anything off of another player's sheet. So if I were green, for example, change colors, and I want to be green, you cannot pick up this stuff off of this table. It will pop up and say you are not permitted to pick it up. So you can't take shit off other people's plates. Change color, back to black. And you also notice that you can't really see much going on in there. In the little inside the little invisible area. HUD states, if you go to state, you can also go to wounded. Take this, Control C, we'll make a couple of them. You can take these little tokens and you can drop them on the base, and it will put up the wounded token, wounded stacks, so you can have like 2 or 3 of them. This one is aim. If your character's aiming, it'll pop up there. Just hit the little refresh and away you go. And then you can set the lights with the light bar. This zone protection tool is what keeps people from picking shit up on this table. And if you want to stabilize your mini, because this guy has a script on it, you can use these little stabilized bases. Pick your character up, drop him on the base, ka-chunk, and your character will no longer fall over because he's been stabilized. So he doesn't go up, down, or off the table. But when he's on the junk pile, he will no longer just continually fall down. He'll just stand up on it. So that's as quick as I can make this video. That is going to be it. There are, again, 28 maps that will allow you to play the Last Parsec Irongate plot point campaign. Enjoy. Screwed that up. Stop recording.